Hey guys, you're right in time for SamaTime. Today I am sitting next to a beautiful, brave, and intelligent Ghanaian who has accomplished quite a bit and is adding a 450-kilometer swim through the Volta River in Ghana. It's amazing. Miss Tetteh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. When I heard the news, I was like, you're making Ghana proud. And I also love how you are able to raise raise people's attention about the pollution that's happening through the Volta River. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think, there is something very exciting about such a long swimming journey. I grew up swimming, but even I've never swum that distance before. It's really long. And so I think people are interested, and my story, my journey, my swim can be an entry point for people to learn more about the issues that we're addressing.
Yes. So you mentioned about how you've always loved swimming as a child. I like to go back to your childhood and how it was like growing up. So how was it like for you?
I actually grew up mostly in Johannesburg in South Africa. And in Johannesburg, there's lots of swimming. There's lots of pools. They're really a swimming country. And so I grew up swimming and I've always loved it. And when I got to school, I was competing a little bit. And then I thought, I actually don't want to compete all the time. And with our expedition, the Agbechi Living Water Expedition, it was this amazing opportunity to just explore different parts of the country. And this would be the only way for me to be able to see that. And so it was also really important for me to take people along. So we had on our boat, because we all lived and worked and slept and ate on this research boat that was fully solar powered. We had this boat that took the whole crew along the Volta River. And on that boat, we had someone whose whole job was to take footage and videos and pictures so that we can share the beauty of our experience with other people.
So I have researched and found that you swim through all of that and through all that pollution. So I want to see, how was it like? 40 days, I've heard.
Yes, it was 40 days. I think something that was so exciting to me was actually how clean the water looked. I mean, we'll see, because what we're doing is we're looking at microfibers and microplastics. So it's things you can't really see with your naked eye. We need to use a microscope. But just looking at the water, it actually looks really clean, which was really nice, because you want to believe that there's still a chance for us to preserve the environment. And it made me feel better that I wasn't swimming in rubbish, but we'll see. So the research that we're doing right now to look at all the water samples we collected will give us an idea of what happened. We collected water samples in tubes, but I also had what's called a passive sampling disc. And it's basically like a second skin that I wore in a holder on my leg. And what that's going to tell us is everything that my skin was exposed to. So we'll know the truth in the next few months.
Few months, okay. So swimming through all of that, what are 3 major takeaways that you have experienced and you want to share with the world about the pollution?
Sure. So, I mean, with our expedition in general, what we're looking at is the impact on the environment and on people of secondhand clothing from the global north, so countries like the US and the UK, on Ghana, the Ghanaian environment. So I don't know how many people are aware, but what often happens when we put clothes into charity boxes or we give them away as donations in the US or the UK, a lot of that clothing actually ends up in Ghana, where some of it is sold, some of it's recycled, upcycled, and sold as part of trade. But unfortunately, much of it can't be sold because it's just too much. And so it ends up in landfills and, unfortunately in water and on the beach and just, destroying our environment. So one thing that I really want people to get from this swim and this expedition is just an awareness that that's happening, because many of us don't know. Then the next thing I want people to take away from this expedition is just a thoughtfulness about how we buy. because a lot of us are buying more than we really need. And some of the larger brands, the clothing brands, are producing way more than we could actually buy and wear. And so what we're seeing is there's just too much. And so I want us all to think, do we need to be buying as much? Could we wear the clothes that we have more often? And how are we interacting with our environment? So I think that's two things. And you said three things. So the third thing was when I told people about wanting to swim down the Volta River as part of this expedition, some of the first reactions were of fear. And people thought, oh, no, it's too scary. It's such a long way. Will you be okay? And for many people, it seemed impossible. And what I want to show people is that things are not necessarily impossible if you're able to break them down into smaller parts. So 450 kilometers seems extremely far. But, each day I was maybe swimming 10 kilometers, right? I mean, I swam different amounts each day. Sometimes I swam 15, sometimes I swam 5. But, you're just thinking about each day. So when you look at the problem in that way, it's much more possible to succeed.
So bringing you back to the first challenge or second, when you were talking about the clothes, is there a solution that we can do, like for the ones that we give away? Is there like maybe we can give to the people that don't have? Or like what's some of the ways that we can solve that problem?
Sure. So, the secondhand clothing trade is a trade, and there are people who do get their livelihoods here in Ghana from repurposing the clothes, from improving the clothes, and from selling the clothes. So it's not necessarily bad that we give our clothes away. It also does sometimes go to people who need clothes, right? So that's not necessarily the problem. But what we want to say as an organization is that the people in Ghana who are helping deal with this problem of too much clothing need more resources to do their work. And so what we're saying to the brands that are producing all these clothes is, if you're going to produce all these clothes, we want you to pay towards dealing with them at the end of their life, right? So when you are finished with your clothing and you want to donate it, that's completely fair. And some of it will end up in Ghana. And we want to make sure that the people in Ghana who are working with those clothes have enough money, the space, the resources to effectively deal with those clothes.
I think a lot of this tailors back to resources, because in Ghana, sometimes you don't have enough. There's not enough for you. It's like, for example, all the stuff that gets choked up in the gutters, it goes there. So it's basically a matter of resources and also about people not knowing how to keep the environment clean. I think that always boils down to that. And once people learn how to do that, I think Ghana will be a much cleaner place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can all be more thoughtful about how we interact with our environment, and also be more thoughtful about the responsibilities that we have to looking after each other and looking after the environment. I will say, though, that for something like sustainability and being able to make choices that keep our environment safe and healthy, sometimes that comes from having the ability to make a decision, have choice. But, sometimes if you're really poor, you don't really have that opportunity to make a choice. You're just having to deal with situations. Yeah. And so for me, the way I understand ensuring sustainability is making sure that we're not just throwing around blame, right? But we're trying to help people be able to make a more sustainable choice, a better choice for people and the environment.
So let's go to the fun aspect. What are 2 fun facts about you that nobody knows?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like all my friends know, but I really love anime. Like, I spend a lot of time watching anime. And also,
what's your favorite anime?
What's my favorite anime? There's so many. But the one that I rewatch all the time is an anime about vampires called Hellsing. So that's the one I watch all the time. And then, what's the second thing? Fun fact about me. I'm now like, I don't feel very fun. A fun fact is I hate cooking. I really don't cook. But I like preparing liquids. So I make all these interesting health drinks. But I don't like cooking.
I've also researched that where you are an agribusiness owner and you are able to turn the fresh fruits into dry goods. So congratulations on that too. What's the process?
Yes, so my brand, Evaya Farm, transforms fresh fruit into all natural dried fruit products from Ghana. So we make dried mango, dried pineapple, dried pawpaw, and dried banana. And it's actually a very, well, in some ways, very simple process in that we get fruit from farmers and we bring it to our facility. We wash them, we cut them, we peel them, and we put them in our industrial dehydrator. And basically, we package it and sell it. It's in some ways a very simple process.
That's cool. And I've also researched that you're an athlete and an activist. So what type of athlete are you?
Well, it's funny because I don't know if I would have thought of myself as an athlete, but I do spend a lot of time exercising. And I think I now qualify as an athlete after this long swim. But in terms of the kind of exercise I enjoy, swimming, of course, but I also really enjoy cycling and running. Anything that just allows me to feel really alive, I really like.
So for swimming, do you see yourself mentoring any little kids that want to swim?
I hope that this expedition is inspiring to people. I definitely don't feel qualified to be teaching people. And also, it's funny because I finished the swim and there's all this excitement, but I'm also going back to my day job, which keeps me very busy. But yeah, I'm mostly hoping that it's an inspirational example for other people.
Thank you so much for your time. You are very inspirational. And you inspired me because you were able to do that for 40 days. That speaks a lot and it puts Ghana on the map really well. So thank you so much for doing that. You're making Ghana proud. And I hope that the way that you were able to raise the awareness that people will start making changes and the clothing business and everything will find a way how to rectify our problems.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, here we have Captain JJ, who also foresaw the safety of everybody through the expedition. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I heard it was a really big expedition, 40 days. That's a very long time. How was it for you?
It was intense because you start off with the river that's fairly, river. So it's normal. You're just going downstream or downriver, and you can see the next shore. And then you get to a point where two rivers meet. So you get to the confluence of the black and white Voltas, and then that's different. Yeah, because now you're getting current, something you didn't used to have. You're not getting current, so you're hoping that it goes like that, and the boat can go straight because you're kind of sliding instead of going straight because current is really trying to turn you around, and then you hit the lake and now you have waves, and 2 feet waves, 3 foot waves, 4 foot waves, and then you begin to discover that you're just glad that your boat is strong and you're just glad that your boat is safe, and you're glad that you took all the time you needed to make sure you had life jackets and everything that to keep everyone safe. And then once you ended, then we felt proud of what we had done to achieve 538 kilometers of boat navigation, signs, swimming, and captaining a boat. So yeah.
Yeah. How you said with those waves, those sound like some serious waves.
Yeah, and the thing is, they never stop. So if it's raining, if there's a storm 15 kilometers away, you will start feeling the waves, and you have to go over all those waves till you have completed the 16 kilometers, and hope there isn't another storm coming the other way. So it never stops. On the lake, it just keeps going. Yeah. So it's either you're gonna find some spot and dock, which sometimes we did, or you were so exposed that going to the other shore was 20 kilometers and going to your next stop is 15 kilometers. So then would you choose 15 over 20? Yeah, so then you have to keep going. Yeah, and hope for the best. And that was the kind of situation we had.
So what are some of the things that you discovered when you were able to go through that?
That it's when you move from the river to the lake, it's like you're in another part, in a different river, even though it's the same river. I mean, when you're crossing the Volta River at the Adomi Bridge, it looks calm and everything. Up north, it's not like that, okay? It assumes a different character. And when you're captaining a boat, you need to be sensitive to that kind of character and figure out how to work with it. One of the interesting things I discovered, for example, was the water could boil. So, like waves are going north or south. But sometimes when you have cross winds in a cross storm, then the water is literally boiling. So the boat literally moves around like that. Yeah. We had that on occasion where, like, do you go left or do you go right or do you go across the waves or do you go along the waves? It's dangerous to go along a wave because then you have the risk of capsizing. So if the waves is coming, if the wave is coming this way, your boat needs to go across it. But sometimes you go across the wave and it dips. So the next wave literally comes to the deck. And it's a solar powered boat, so you do not want water on the deck. No. You don't want water getting into the hatch and messing up your batteries, or else you're stuck. So these are all the fears and things you're thinking about as you're holding the boat, and then you're saying, easy girl, you can do this. And then trying to, okay, maybe I should go too fast, or maybe I shouldn't go too. So you're making decisions and trying to adapt, and you're experimenting to see which one has the least chance of capsizing you and your crew. And that was effectively what we tried to do on this boat.
All
Yeah.
right. So the way that you said is solar powered. How did you get through it when there were storms? Because from what I understand, you get your power from the sun.
So if there was a storm, usually early in the morning is when we recharge, because by night it's all gone. So in the morning we recharge to about, I need my dashboard to show me a minimum of about 104 volts. And that means then that if I'm traveling at 4 kilometers per hour, and that's really slow, because when you walk, if you're walking, brisk walking, you're doing 6 kilometers per hour. So this is a very, very slow way to travel. And then but that's good because the swimmer only goes 3 and 4 kilometers per hour. And the boat is designed to match the swimmer, unless there's an emergency, in which case you need to haul butt and get back to shore. Okay, but if you push your boat to full throttle, you can only get about 30 minutes juice out, and you better hope that that's enough to take you to shore, or else you just crash out and there's nothing else you can do but drop anchor and hope for the best. So every time we run into scenarios like that, and the weather wasn't looking good, then we had to make a call. So sometimes usually the boat leaves, because not only was I captaining it, I was also navigating. But I would just tell the kayaker, okay, aim for that shore, and that's the direction we could go. But when you're swimming, you don't swim in a straight line. So actually, I'm one of the people who believe we actually did more than 450 kilometers of swimming, because if I go straight with the boat, I'm aiming for 15 kilometers. If she's covering 15 kilometers, she's going right and left and right and left, okay, and sometimes way right. And she has to correct, because the boat will always keep to course. Yeah, and so then it means that you would have done longer if we were taking it, like measuring every movement you were making, than you were if we're just doing a straight line.
Well, in that case, you guys did a lot.
Yes, we did a lot. Yeah.
So what are 3 fun facts about the river that you didn't know before?
Well, I knew it was big, but it's still big, and that's still a valid fact. Just how big it is. Yeah, it really is big. So, but the fun fact, of course, is that it's dependent more on wind action than it does on current action. Yeah. So that what gets you is not the current, because it's a deep lake, so any current is really underneath. Okay, and remember there are cliffs and valleys down in Lake Volta. Yeah, and so if those things go to hit those currents, they won't make much of an effect on the surface. But with wind, it's just flat out. The wind hits the water and creates the waves, and the waves just respond to the wind. Yeah, so the more wind there is, the more waves you will see. Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether it's raining where you are. It could be raining 50 kilometers away, but you will pay for the price of that rain wherever you are in big waves. And I guess that's also the reason why sometimes we hear of boat disasters, because those disasters are built using local knowledge, and sometimes they may be overloaded or they may not have the right balance for those waves. Yeah. And so thankfully we had a catamaran. A catamaran is like having 2 equal platforms upon which to build a boat. So we had real stability. Yeah, but the other boats are just generally cylindrical in shape, and so they tend to tilt very badly in bad waves or in very big waves. Yeah.
So I've heard that your boat was the first of its kind built in Ghana.
So it's not the first boat to be built in Ghana, but it's the first solar powered boat to be built in Ghana. And what that basically means is that from manufacturing to concept design. In fact, from concept design to manufacturing to bringing in the solar issues, every single part of it was prepared right here in this country. And we're also figuring out, okay, how much sunlight do you need to power this much boat so you can cover 15 kilometers a day? So there was a lot of math and science involved in the calculations, because if you got it wrong, then we were stuck. And then on top of that, we were like, okay, what if we run out of juice no matter how good we were with our calculations? So we had an LPG generator on there to try and power if we run out, but the boat absolutely refused to take power from that generator. Yeah, so we just had to depend on the sun. Sometimes the sun would come out and we were hiding in the shadows and it wouldn't be charging enough. So we have to push into the middle, drop anchor so the sun can almost directly power our boat. And when you do that, you almost immediately see the solar system smiling, like, oh yeah, we got some juice. Yeah. Yeah, and then it has to go as high as it possibly can in order for you to be able to cover the distances. Sometimes we waited so the swimmer could do an hour ahead and then we caught up. And then once we catch up to her, then we lead the way and then she then followed. Yeah. So everything was done on the boat. We're eating, we're cooking, everything, because you're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And even if you got to shore, sometimes the villages might be 10 kilometers away from shore. Yeah, so you're not going to get the help you're needing, or you're not going to find food. And so we needed to run a very independent expedition where if we weren't seeing another human being for 40 days, we were supposed to be fine. And indeed we were. Yeah.
So let's talk about your outfit here. Those on your either side of your collar a flag?
No, so they are my rank. There's the Ghana, there's an Outdoors Association of Ghana, and how good you are, or let's say what number of experience you have in various adventure fields, determines your rank. So I am a master guide, and so that's the rank of a master guide. Other ranks have different colors, but also on the same places. So what this rank basically means is that I have the experience and the training to take any group of people in any outdoor environment in Africa from one side of a 100-kilometer jungle to the other side safely. So that's what my training means. Yeah. So
That's great.
exactly.
What are 2 fun facts about yourself that nobody knows?
I train as a journalist, and so people don't expect to see that in the jungle, because everybody just, he's a master guide, or he's an adventure guide, or he's a captain. Okay, and probably all my life that's what I have always been doing. But I train as a journalist as well. And perhaps the other fun fact is I've never been afraid of anything except lightning. Yeah. Yeah. So these are just the 2 things.
That's great. I'm a bit scared of spiders.
Oh, spiders. Spiders are nothing. Yeah. They are cute 8-legged creatures.
Cute. You're one of the first people I've ever heard call them cute. I've heard other people call them hairy, scary, not wanting to be around, all sorts of stuff.
Have you ever seen a bat?
Yes.
Do you like bats?
They're interesting,
Okay.
although I don't want to get too close to them.
Okay. After you meet a bat face to face, you might change your mind on spiders.
Okay. I don't know if I want to see a bat now.
We'll see. Join an expedition and you might see more. Yeah.
Wow. But thank you. You done a great job, and I appreciate your work, and Ghana appreciates your work also.
Yeah, I mean, we were glad to be part of this. It was history in the making, and we were really, we were happy to be on the right side of history. And for us, I'm really looking forward to the science, like what the results will look like from all the sampling we have done, so that the swim, the navigation, all the boat issues that we were able to overcome, even the storms and everything, should be worth it in the end. And I'm really looking forward to being able to tell the story of microfiber pollution and textile pollution along the river, so we know, okay, maybe we shouldn't worry right now, or hey guys, we need to be worried right now, and then figure out what to do now that we know, because knowledge is power, and now that we know, what we going to do about it. For me, I live my entire life on Lake and River Volta, and I depend on it for my life, and so I don't want it messed up by anything. Yeah, and so the longer it lives, the longer I assume I too will live.
A bonus. You said that you're training to be a journalist. I had begun journalism when I was 9. I started working on TV3 when I was 9, and now I'm 11. It really picked up during the Africa Bitcoin conference, which happened here in Kempinski, and there I was able to interview Jack Dorsey, the co-founder of Twitter. So I have a quick question to you. Do you know a lot about cryptocurrency?
Not at all. Sounds to me like fuzzy math, and I like my money in my wallet. So, so no, I don't know much about that. But I train as a journalist, and I actually have a first class degree in journalism.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. But I wanted to understand the mind of a journalist. I wanted to get into that kind of a mindset, that mindset of discovery, of questioning everything you see, just so you can understand how things work. And I think it's the same kind of attitude I have in the Ghanaian outdoors and in the jungle as well. Why is this snake staring at me? Yeah. Okay. What is it thinking? I may not know what it's thinking, but like, okay, can we have an understanding of why snakes are the way they are so I too can be the way I am? And yeah, so it's just having an understanding of how things work. And nature is the biggest place to really discover.
I think it's probably one of the best places to discover too, because then not only are you learning about nature, you're also like for people that might like to be a journalist but also like to spend their time outdoors, they're also cultivating their thing of journalism. So I think that's great. But yeah, that's a good analogy. Like, why is a snake looking at me? Sometimes I ask myself, why is that spider doing this, and this? I remember when I was younger, I had researched heavily on spiders and written a whole mini article for my class. So I like doing that. It's great.
Yeah, but the spider does not know that you're observing him. He's only being a spider. Okay, so your fear of spiders has nothing to do with anything the spider has done. It's all you, not the spider. The spider did nothing, didn't speak to you, didn't say hello, was minding his or her own business, and then you decided you were going to fear him, and it's not stopping him from being the spider, is it? And I guess in a way you can look at our expedition like that. The lake is the lake, the river is the river. We are the ones that said we were going to do something with it, so we needed to go with the respect that it deserved, so we could also achieve our goal. So with the spider, same thing. If you it's hard to say respect the spider, but if you understood why it was the way it is, then you adapt accordingly, and both of you will be happy.
Yes, I guess so. I like how you use that analogy to look at your expedition, and I also think that's why you guys are able to have a safe journey. Because some people tell me, "Hey, the river seems alive," and if the river is alive and it sees that you're respecting it, then it's going to let you go safely.
'Cause, I mean, in nature is really these are the biggest forces in the universe, so to speak. Yeah, if wind in action, you've got tsunamis and hurricanes. Okay, if fire blows over, you've got basically wildfires. Okay, so these are strong stuff. So if you are pitting your strength against nature, then it means then that you need to work with it. It's like climbing up a mountain. The mountain isn't there trying to stop you from getting to the peak. But if you are climbing it, you need to know that he's not your enemy. Okay, so don't run up it. Take baby steps and you'll make it to the top. Okay, if you go beyond what you can do, then you will crash. Okay, and so it's just understanding how things work and extending that respect so you could live in a place where there are lions, so long as you understand how lions work. Okay, and respect that space. If you go saying, oh, someone in the Bible killed a lion, so you're going to go and try that, you will become lion dinner. Okay, and and there's not a thing anyone can do about it because you were disrespecting nature, and you also didn't understand your own strengths vis-a-vis nature. Okay, once you understand where you are and where this is, then you create the environment for yourself that enables you to survive. But if you do not understand that, then of course you will not survive because you didn't take a lot into account. And for us, this was important. And I guess that was my job on this expedition, the logistics. How much food do we need? And it was calculated to the very letter. Yeah, how much water, how much drinks, what kind of medication in an emergency. We need a satellite phone. Who do we call? Is there security issues? What kind of police commander in which district? So everything needed to be planned because there was no room for error. And then we left the rest for nature's unexpected. And if there's a storm, none of us will be able to stop the storm. Yeah, exactly.
I learned a lot today. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
This is a really educational video, and guys, I think you guys learned a lot too. I definitely did. But like I always say, Catch you next time on SamaTime. Bye.